Hello, Master Manifester. Today we're talking about the Self-Esteem Sandbox for Manifestation Mastery. How does self-esteem work? Basically, you have an identity, which for your brain is the predictive processing for your behavior. The brain is always trying to predict what will happen next, what you will do next, and it has constructed this story of who you are to keep you in line. But this is for your own benefit because it saves energy and the brain uses a lot of energy. It's like up to like 20% of your body's total energy to run your brain processes. And change means more energy used to change neural network defaults. Plus, it also means it's going to activate your nervous system because it's going to freak your body out thinking you're doing something that's not safe, that, you can unalive yourself. You could die. Okay. It's really afraid that you might die. You're not actually going to, but your nervous system is still in the old programming. It still thinks you're running from lions and, fighting wars all the time, whatever it is, It doesn't know that an email is not life-threatening. It doesn't know that, talking to someone or hearing something on the news is not a life or death situation. So to work with that system and understand it in the sandbox, the first thing we need to do is fill the buckets. So we need to retrain our predictive processing by understanding that our brain has two modes. This is like the ones I like to talk about the most because I think these are the simplest to understand in terms of manifestation. You have your mental filters, which is the reticular activating system. This filters the data from the greater reality matrix to determine what is important to you and what matches your identity and your mental stories. If it doesn't match your beliefs, core programming, it gets either filtered out or reorganized, basically hallucinated, just like an AI chatbot. It gets hallucinated into whatever makes the most sense. It's actually amazing how close some of that programming is to our own programming, but it is not the same. So when we look at the default mode network, which is sort of how I pair this mentally with the filter and the automation. The default mode network is where your personality and your self stories are coming from. The reticular activating system is the filter. The default mode network is the automation. And you need to upgrade your nervous system. You need to get your baseline more calm, more stable, more trusting of you and the situation. And you can do this by tracking wins, little micro wins. Every time you notice yourself feeling self-esteem, every time you notice yourself praising yourself, reinforce that and be like, yeah, go me. Good job. And when you notice those times that you're not feeling so good about yourself, recognize that is the old program that you're moving out of. This is a moving story. So when you fill the bucket with your sand in the sandbox, you need to remember that you're going to create new neural pathways. You can set affirmations for these. You can set visualization. You can set journaling, whatever it is that you're going to use. Okay, making Lego bricks. That's the next thing we're going to do. So to make the Lego bricks, we're going to deliberately build new neural pathways around our sense of self-esteem. So we need to set them up and reinforce them with repetition, because otherwise we'll just go back to the old program that feels safe. And this is automated. The mind and body are very automated. They like to run in cycles. They like to run, in predictable systems. So it's really important to get yourself feeling safe in your nervous system. This is why it's so important to raise your baseline nervous system regulation and, recovery, because if it gets triggered, you want a fast recovery. Anticipate you will get triggered when you're trying to make change, when you're trying to manifest a new reality. You're going to get triggered. So just be like, okay, that's just information. Doesn't mean anything about you. Doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It's only information. Everything is data. So rewiring your thoughts and feelings means rewiring your perceptions of how you receive the data. And you use those perceptions, those new epiphanies, those new structural programs in your mind, those if then scenarios. If I feel this way, then I will tell myself this, or I will do this, or I will remember this. Let's say you're looking in the mirror and you're like, "Ah, I look so tired and so old." If you notice yourself talking to yourself that way, have an if then protocol for, yep, I see you, old program, but that's not true at all, and back it up with the evidence, true things, authentic, that you like about yourself. And if you may need to practice to get those programs in your head, maybe even, see how other people like boost their confidence. Sometimes we'll feel threatened by other people's confidence, but that's only because we're needing to access ours more. And to build self-worth, you can actually compliment other people to build your self-worth. Wow, they're so smart, so beautiful, so talented, so good at this, good at that. This is actually reinforcing your own unconscious for your self-worth, because your mind doesn't even really know that there's anybody else. I mean, technically, you're seeing everything through yourself, but it also creates a habit of complimenting and noticing good things about yourself and other people. And you don't need to tell them all the time, just have them to yourself. Notice good things about other people. It will give you practice to notice good things about yourself. So getting into building the sandcastles with the Lego bricks, you want to visualize or even maybe actually use Legos to build whatever, whatever you want to use. Maybe you want to use paper mache. Visualize or construct monuments to your self-esteem. This is valuable. My self-esteem is valuable. And you're going to maintain these things, and you're going to decorate them, and you're going to plan for repairs if they happen to get infected by, mold or, outside automated systems like your own system is prone to doing. Because if somebody comes up to you and they say, "You're so stupid," or "You're so ugly," that is really a reflection of their system. It has nothing to do with yours. But because your system doesn't really recognize me, then, this is where the boundaries part comes in. You need to recognize where you end and they begin. That is somebody else's program. It does not mean anything about you, but it can trigger your nervous system on areas where you feel sensitive. And if they say the word ugly, that is an association. You might say, "Oh, my nose is too big." They didn't say anything about your nose, but you associated that. And when you notice that, back it up. No, no, I have the most beautiful nose ever. And even if you don't believe it at first, repeating that over and over again will literally rewire how you physically see yourself. Your eyes don't see. They're only collecting light, shadows, impressions. Your brain is what is interpreting what you actually see. So rewiring that is going to change not only what you think, but what you perceive and what you experience about yourself. And consistency is key. Repetition and consistency. So I hope the Self-Esteem Sandbox has helped you to understand a little bit more how to build up your self-esteem for manifestation mastery, so you can master those new realities and feel comfortable and safe and satisfied in your manifestations. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and sign up for the Method Muse newsletter in the description below.